Bigga. That's right. All right, we got about 30 seconds. Thank you to Cat Chaser for starting off the super chat tonight. We're going to get things rocking and rolling. Remember, a great way to support this show is hit that subscribe button. And, of course, hit the bell so you know when we're coming on. Hey, Adnome, thanks for coming on in. We got about 30 seconds here, everyone. And we're going to rock and roll with some Butch Witkowski tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And don't forget to do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. And, yeah, you can get some of our shit there. So here we go in like 15 seconds, everyone. I better hit that final tweet because I'm always late on that one. And 5 seconds. And here we go in 3. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on the Chive Charities, because we love to bring you this show courtesy of Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The crankiest man in cryptids is back tonight, and I know you love him anyways, as we welcome the return of Butch Witkowski for Strange Days. Butch is the creator and lead investigator for Pennsylvania's UFO Cop. Their website, UFOcop.com. Butch himself is a former cop who takes his investigations pretty darn seriously. But one thing is for certain for Butch, and that is he doesn't know what the hell is going on in this paranormal world. To quote Butch, this is just weird. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, here we are for another month of Strange Days. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, sir. And how are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, my hair is growing. I got about 5 inches of snow here. I'm cold, but I'm not cranky like Butch Witkowski type cranky. I haven't figured that one out yet. But, you know, I'm doing all right. I don't have enough firewood. I'm starting to panic there. My anxiety's a little bit high. But either way, we got a great show for tonight, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, how you been doing, my friend?
Good. Busy. Got some things going upstate. Got some researchers headed up that way to check on a Bigfoot sighting that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
And it's in an area where we've had reports there before. Plus, we had a bipedal report up in there in the same area. So, Bald Eagle State Park up in Center County.
I wanted to get into something with you earlier here, Butch, because I don't know if you had a chance to read my blog, not this past weekend, but from the weekend before. And I had a real eye-opener over the last couple of weeks here. My son was getting hit at school by another kid, all right? And that situation has been dealt with on a positive note, which I'm pretty happy about as a parent. My son doesn't seem to have any scars or anything from it. So, you know, that one makes me feel good because I also taught my kid how to fight between you and me. And that's always fun. You know, you feel manly as a parent after that. Some people may not agree with that, but sometimes good old-fashioned justice and defense works in a good way. And thank goodness he hasn't had to do anything about that, but it's okay. So anyways, you know, I started thinking along the lines of the way there is a lot of bullying in the paranormal, and there is a lot of mouthiness, there's a lot of lying and deceit and people trying to screw each other over. This field has solved nothing under the paranormal banner. Nothing. Why are we like this in this field?
Well, it all goes back to fortune and glory. That's number one. But, you know, if you got a TV and you got a video camera, you're a ghost hunter, you know. If you have a pair of binoculars and you find an open field on a clear night, all of a sudden you're a ufologist. You read one or two cryptid books, or you watch Bigfoot on TV, and one of the shows, Finding Bigfoot or something like that, and all of a sudden, you know, you're a Bigfoot researcher. And if people step in your way, or they think they can cut into reports or information that particular group or person is giving out, well, then that strikes a chord. That means we got competition, and they'll do whatever they have to do to get rid of the competition. Fortunately, a lot of that has died down over the years, over the last, I'm going to say 3 or 4, because people just started calling. At one point, people didn't say a word. They just went on with their business. But just in the 3 or 4 past years, I would say that they've been getting called out a lot, and you know, their claims have been debunked, or you know, their phony pictures or their CGIs and stuff like that. They've gotten pretty well hammered. I think it's turning in a positive route that way, because the researchers are out there, the good people I'm talking about, the real researchers, the investigators, even the people that, you know, they're not out there doing it all the time or every day like some of us are, but, you know, they have an interest in it and they're looking into it, and, you know, they take those occasional trips wherever they got to go to see what they're looking for. It seems like the whole paranormal field, that includes it all, Bigfoot, cryptozoology, ufology, has run its course, where people that are out there, you know, doing their thing, and the real researchers that are out there doing their thing, pay no attention to them anymore. They don't bother with them. They just, I think when they started going back against these folks and certain groups, that it just caused more issues, more problems, because then it was like you said this, you did that, you didn't do this, you did, you know what I mean? It just went back and forth. I mean, and not only against other groups and stuff, they used to war like that within their own groups, you know, and I think a lot of that has gone away. People are saying, you know, there used to be such a conglomerate of groups in Pennsylvania, and I'll speak only for Pennsylvania. I mean, we had something like 640 paranormal groups, and that was in the state and in states around Pennsylvania that investigated in Pennsylvania, and they were all at war with each other. I've watched many good friendships turn to crap instantly. I watched a lot of good researchers just quit, pack it in, done. And I always felt bad about that, because some of them were really good at what they did, whether it was cryptozoology or paranormal or the ufology. But it's that old story, man. You know, you reap what you sow. And for a long time, many years, that sowing was going on like crazy. And it just eventually came back to bite them in the butt.
Right. And you know, Butch, I know that for you yourself, you have been a part of this too, because I mean, I know that I've had people come up to me and say, you know, accuse you of never being a police officer or a faking investigator and all of this kind of crap. And people were like, you know, even to this day, the odd time, and I never bring it up to you, but the odd time I get people coming up, you know, Butch Witkowski used to fake his way as being a police officer. And then my retort to that is always the same. And that is, oh, so the local newspaper article of him being in the paper with two other fellow officers in uniform is fake? Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, but look, it's not only happened to me; it's happened to a lot of people. There was a researcher that I met years ago, really a nice guy. I mean, one of those guys, kind of like me, kind of cranky, kind of a pain in the ass, but you would have loved the guy. And he was a crypto guy, and he was really hard at it. And he sent me an email. This goes back 2007, maybe. And he sent me an email, and somebody accused him online of being a rapist.
Yeah.
And, it struck him that hard that that was it. He was done. He couldn't afford a lawyer to fight it. He didn't know where it was coming from or who it was. Eventually he did find out, though. But I've seen that happen many times. I've seen it happen with radio show hosts. I've seen it happen with investigators, researchers, witnesses. I've seen it happen to witnesses.
Right.
So, I just treat it what it is, and it's just pure BS. It's just somebody trying to advance their.
Where do you think this anger and this hate comes from in the field? Is it the fact that you're being invited to to speak at more conferences or radio shows or YouTube programs than the other person? Where do you think this all resides?
Well, it's all jealousy. I mean, like I said before, they're jealous within their own groups. You have somebody that's heading up a group, and they're pretty knowledgeable, and hypothetically, they know what they're doing and all that stuff. And then you got a newcomer that comes in and sees an opening where, he can sow enough bad news and enough background on somebody to just pretty much destroy them or get them out of the group, and then they want to take over, which happens quite a bit. But it's just jealousy. I mean, but like I said, I have seen that that's decreasing over the last 4 years. That's decreased a lot. So that just tells me that, the researchers, investigators are out there now, got a lot smarter.
Right.
And, they don't put up with that garbage. The one radio host I dealt with back in, he was in Southern California, 2008, 2009, a really good guy, good radio guy, good questions, good answers, good audience. And I don't even remember what they brought up against him. And the radio station fired him. Wasn't true, but they fired him on some goofball's story that they wrote a letter to the radio station, and the radio station didn't check anything. They didn't want to get their name involved in anything, so they just canned his butt. So it's happened. I don't think it's going to happen as much as it did for many, many years. But then again, you got to look at it like this. Look at the ones that did the most talking are the ones that have gotten nailed legally, that way. For real, like the head of MUFON. So, what goes around comes around. But there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of good radio stations, a lot of good hosts, a lot of good people, a lot of good information. We've been busy. I'm just having a ball. I never paid much attention. I never paid much attention to it to begin with, but I'm just having a good time.
But you also have to have big shoulders too, because
well, when you're a policeman, you get called a lot of names, and after a while, that just kind of runs off like a water on a duck back. So that never really bothered me. And besides that, when that crap first started, I got an attorney real quick and just started documenting everything. And when that got out and a couple of people got noticed, that kind of started to go away real quick because I don't care. If I got to sue somebody for crap, I'll sue them. Don't make any difference to me. So, and my attorney was a state attorney, so he's a good guy. But irregardless, we'll always have that crap, Dave, one way or the other. But it just seems like the less you pay attention to them, the faster they go away.
Very true. Very true. But, I mean, there is a hardcore faction out there that is willing to do and say anything. I mean, don't forget, for the most of your time as an investigator, you didn't have to deal with social media. And social media has, especially with a lot of the, the vitriol people are throwing out there, because they can hide behind, aliases and everything like that. I mean, I know a good friend of this show, Rich Giordano, about a year ago, he was saying something against the To the Stars Academy, and one of their Twitter supporters actually tried to make a comment that Rich was a pedophile on air.
I saw that.
And Rich immediately went over to his cousin, who happens, I believe, to be a member of the FBI, and said, "Look, dude, I'm pointing this out, that this is going on," and thankfully it disappeared because a lot of people got to that person. We found out who it was. I'm going to keep that quiet, but we found out who it was, and it was real easy that remark was removed within 2 hours of when we called it out. But that's the way people are these days. They don't want to argue. They want to go straight for slit in the throat.
Well, and a lot of times, when I say jealousy, it's like one of the things that it gets them started real quick is like they've been investigating something for a number of years and they've gotten nowhere. They can't get any information, or the information they got is no good, or it's just a bummed out case. And then they get on the internet or they see it in a group somewhere, someplace where that particular group was investigating something very similar, and they got the answer and they got some evidence and all this stuff, and it just pees them off. And then they go after them, like, oh, they stole my information, and this and that, and this guy that, and this girl that, and I just got away from it. I don't care. Let them do what they got to do. But we keep track of them.
That is true. That is true. And eventually they phase themselves out with their own attitude. But, Butch, with so many people investigating these fields, okay, thousands upon thousands in the United States alone, and, and a couple thousand more up here in Canada where I am, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there room for ego when there's no answers to what we're even looking at?
Ego shouldn't even enter into this. I mean, this is like, it's like almost like you're in high school or college. You're studying for a test. So you're studying, you're reading, you're looking at everything you can get to come up with the right answers. And you put your heart and soul and your pocket into it, and sometimes you get results and sometimes you don't get results. And a good investigator just goes like, okay, well, that's that. I either close it or I keep it open and check it later, or go back to it a year from now, or go meet that witness, or go photograph that area, or go do what I got to do. And then you have the other ones that it sours them. They get an attitude like, how dare that group find out what I was doing? They were probably spying on me, even though they were in another state or something like that. They come up with all kinds of concoctions. But I always tell people when they come up with stuff like that, I said, don't worry about what they say about you. Just do your thing. Do what you do best. If they want to, be like that, tell them to get into politics. Those people get paid to do it.
Very true. Very true. And I understand that, but how do you change the atmosphere? How do you change the idea that there are people out there that are literally trying to sue other paranormal teams because, heaven forbid, if they went on a location that has a contract with only one paranormal team?
Well, I've never run into that situation, but I've heard of those contract deals where somebody gets contracted they'll rent a place or however they do it. I've never been in that situation, but look, I just tell people, do what you do best. If you're an investigator or a researcher, do it. Do your thing. Don't worry about what other people say. If you got a question or you need an answer, there are plenty of us out there to help you give an answer or get a question answered or supply a map or look at a photograph or whatever. Or listen to a voice recording and match it up with our stuff. I mean, there's so many people out there that can really help. And, there's a lot of them. And even if somebody asked me something and I couldn't get it, I probably know somebody that could help them out. And I have no qualms about doing anything like that. Where other people, I've heard it from other groups where, they called somebody to find out something, some information, maybe in their area, had nothing to do with any of their investigation, but just something was going to take place in their area, and they were going to be there to investigate it or research background on it. And they got tore all the crap, man. People went nuts, like they owed them money. I'm like, wow. So, but we've never had that issue because we always helped whoever we could. I mean, a couple little things that you've sent me over time. I've looked at them. I gave you my opinion. Some are kind of strange, and some are, what they are. I have people wanting research area maps. No problem. Give me your email address, or if you don't have an email, I'll mail it to you. Or the status of a case. No problem. We're an open book. I don't have to hide anything. I mean, everything's right here. And when I take the big dirt nap, all this stuff is going to go to somebody who's going to carry on from where I left off. So it's not like it's going to be lost or thrown out or donated to any group. It's going to be just carried on the way it was.
No, and I think that's the way it should be. I mean, the competition is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous when you think about it, because what are you competing against? There's no money in this field. All right. The majority of people are not getting a television program. All right.
Nope.
So you get to speak at one or two conferences. What's the big deal? Not a big deal at all.
And even that has changed, Dave. Like for many, many years, far back as I can remember when I started going to conferences, it was the same people every conference. They didn't have to tell you who was going to be on next year's conference. You already knew it. And then, people stopped going because there's only so many times you can listen to the same story given by the same guy who's been at that same conference for 10 years. And people just got tired of it because the prices of the conferences, of course, went up, and, lodging went up and all that kind of stuff. So, they just relegated themselves to doing smart things, like listening to SOAR radio, like listening to other radio stations that are out there that are good. And, involving themselves more with a broader and a more general audience that they would never get to on their own. But it's just like, some of the best questions I've ever had has come from, the SOAR people. So I just tell people, do what you got to do. But if you have a question, I mean, you have a good story and you want to shoot it by somebody, and you think it's worthy of getting out to the public, get a hold of Dave Scott. He'll put you on. If it's a story that's valid. There's a lot of guys out there like that. If they need to reduce that pile of clutter they have on the desk that are investigations that have been going on for the last 10 years.
Right. Butch, you hold on right there. We're going to go to break. When we come back with the crankiest man in cryptids, Butch Witkowski, we're going to get into some stories about Bigfoot, Dogman, UFOs, aliens, ghosts, since it's Halloween. Yes, our man Butch is back. The Butch is back. I think that's still my favorite. The Butch is back.
You're a sick man.
Hey, blame Elton John, man. Blame Elton John.
Okay.
All right. People want Dogman stories, Butch. I see him winding up. Derek on Twitter wants some woo. He's looking at you to deliver.
We've got a few of those.
Perfect. Oh, excuse me. You know our artist Filth sent you the picture?
Yeah.
He did one up for Skinwalker Ranch, and Brandon Fugel, the owner, just loved it.
I think I have two of his hanging in my library.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple in here. I think I got 3 of them in here. Yeah, dude and plus he sent me a bunch of just pieces of paper and sketches. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with those. I do, because I want to put them up. They're pretty damn special. Make
a collage.
I might. Eleni wants to know, so, Mr. Scott, what are your plans for Samhain? Well, plan on going trick-or-treating with, not me, my son. And then we're going to come back here and we're going to blow up my backyard with some fireworks and a bonfire, marshmallows, and maybe a snowball fight if the snow is still around. That's the plan. Corn's the booking guy, wants to talk Halo armor stories, Dogman and Halo armor. That's what he wants.
Uh-huh.
He wants it. Warm it up, because we're going there, man. We're going there.
I wish I knew what it was.
These Dogman warriors, these Anubis-type creatures that are seen with long swords and body armor. It's 7-8 feet tall. No? No? Just not feeling it, Butcheroni? The San Francisco treat?
Swords, huh?
Oh, yeah. You got to talk to... have you ever talked to Jody Cook about it? It's insane.
I see his on Facebook every now. Not very seldom is he on Facebook, but never met the guy.
Oh, dude, you should seriously talk to him. He has a bunch of people from the military who've come, because he's ex-military as well and a veteran, who've come up to him saying, like, dude, I was shipped away to kill these things.
Ugh.
And hunt them down.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I kind of think I'll stick with the ones that are unarmed. If possible.
Hi, Ahmad. I know you can hear me. We got 1 minute. How do I get there? Right there. All right, 40 seconds. $30. Thank you to Fapster and Cat Chaser for kicking off the super chat. Got 116 people in our YouTube chat, a bunch listening in on Revolution Radio. Twitter's hopping. And my beard is looking good. Thanks to Mighty Moose Beard Oil, MightyMooseBeard.com. And support us by shopping at the SOR Vault on our website. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. I'm the guy behind the microphone, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Butch Witkowski. Strange Days happens here near the final part of every month, where Butch comes in, discusses all the things that are weird and strange going on in his neck of the woods of Pennsylvania. His website, uf4cop.com. Mr. Butch, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. I'm doing just fine.
All right, people want to talk Dogman. What's going on in the bipedal canine world?
Well, in the bipedal canine world, there was a sighting, and this is just a couple days ago, so we're still running up on it. But we've had two sightings in that particular area of Clearfield County, Pennsylvania. And the first time we went up, spent a weekend up there, we went up under the guise of looking for Bigfoot. And then when we really found, the park ranger was a pretty square guy. We just told him what we were looking for and what reports we had. And he brought up a series of screams that he's been hearing about 4 to 6 months before we got there. And he said, I've been here for 12 years. He said, I've never heard anything like that in my life. He said, I know every animal that walks, crawls, and flies in this place. He said, I don't know what that is. He said, but it's the most ungodly scream that you've ever heard. The other day I got a case, it started out as a Bigfoot case, but then the description went way canine and nothing like Bigfoot. And the two gentlemen, they live in an area where, I'm familiar with the area, it's a lot of hunting cabins up in there, a lot of newer homes, pretty expensive homes. It's just kind of been, over the years, transformed from a forest area to, almost an urban area. But a lot of the cabins are still there. And the one gentleman said that, he goes out on the front porch of the cabin, and his buddy will come out. They just sit there and smoke and drink coffee and whatever. And they heard something coming through the woods, which he thought could have been a bear, because it's an area that does have not a lot of black bear, but they do have black bear. And he said it was just like, almost like a tank rumbling through it. It was just breaking branches, and he said you could hear the pounding of the footsteps. And so they got a flashlight, walked out to the end of the property line, and, started looking around. And they got a glimpse of a bipedal. Their description was a good 8 to 10 foot tall, or the same description we get on all of them. Large wolf head, glowing yellow eyes, massive chest, thin-waisted, hawk legs like a dog, arms with hands, claws, the whole 9 yards. And he said it stopped and looked at him. And now, ones that we've had in the past that are on the move don't stop. They just keep going. This one stopped and looked at him. They turned around to, boogie back to the cabin, which was not far away, maybe 50 yards. And he said they turned back after a couple steps, and it was gone. And all they saw in the woods was a very pale, the one guy described it as a yellowish, whitish, in between color, very light yellow, light flash. Now, these light flashes drive me crazy because we have them now in, and we've had them in Bigfoot cases where there's a flash of light and the Bigfoot scene, there's a flash of light and the Bigfoot's gone, or there's a flash of light and there's a bipedal scene, or there's a flash of light and the bipedal standing there in the light. Almost like a halo around the creature. And we have a lot of folks say, well, they're interdimensional. Well, I mean, these things have been seen eating roadkill. Why would an interdimensional being eat roadkill? Why would it need to even eat? You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense to me. So, these, of course, they're scared witless. And not too far away in Center County, we have a Bigfoot report, and guys staying in a cabin. A lot of guys are staying in cabins now because they're getting ready for hunting season. And with the COVID and everything like that, there's really not much they can do anyway. But there again, the guy went outside to just relieve himself, and because they don't have a bathroom or running water or anything like that. They have an outhouse, which got destroyed last year. He said, we have no idea what destroyed it, but something just ripped it apart. And he described an 8-foot-tall, ape-like creature with a cone head, conical head. He said what amazed him the most was, with its size, that the spread between the shoulders was at least 4 foot. And he said it was on the run. He said it just tore through the woods like there was no woods there. So it did cross a creek, and there are footprints at the creek. Now, I don't know if he protected those footprints. I had asked him if he had cast the prints, and he said no, but they would see what they could do. So I don't know what that is, but we have 2 investigators on their way up there. They'll be up there this week, and see what turns out with that. But that Bald Eagle State Park, that's a strange place. I mean, there are Bigfoot reports, bipedal reports, strange things walking around the woods, slender man, shadow people. It's just a goofy place. And it's a beautiful park. I mean, it's really pretty. But I don't know. That and, we just got another case the other day where a couple gentlemen out in the Southwest were sitting around at one gentleman's house just discussing the indigenous beliefs in Skinwalker. And, the beliefs of the Navajo, the Paiute, and Cherokee, everybody, just how they differ or what they're supposed to look like. This and he said it was just a friendly conversation. They're not investigators or anything like that. It was just something somebody read somewhere, and they just started talking about it and shooting the bull. And they heard walking outside the window, and they opened the blind, the drapes, and there was nothing there. But then they heard it walking along the house and behind the house, because he said it's just gravel. He said, we don't have any grass or anything like that. So they went out and started looking around. They didn't see anything, nothing like that. And come morning, they went out again, and they looked down, and there were dog prints, large dog prints, below the window that they opened the drapes on, and all the way around the house. Plus, what they thought was some critter scratching at the back porch area. Turned out to be those scratches were pretty deep and pretty wide. So right now, I guess they're talking to some indigenous out in that area. Could they have conjured up a skinwalker? Now, in indigenous terms, with their beliefs, I mean, if you mention a skinwalker, you're going to get a visit. So that's why they're not spoken about, because of the ramifications. in their lore that, if you bring forth a skinwalker, you'll pay for it. So they're going to let us know how they made out. They're going to, I guess they're over there tomorrow, Tuesday, or today rather. They're going over to the local tribe to see what they can find, if it's possible that white men can conjure up a skinwalker. And they did take some pictures of the prints, and they did take a couple of casts, so we'll wait to see what they look like. But it's just like, these things come in batches, and I've never heard of anybody other than the indigenous talk about skinwalkers. I mean, like white people describing skinwalkers or anything like that. But hey, it is what it is. We don't know what they are. We have no clue. We don't know any more about these things than we do about Bigfoot, or for that matter, UFOs.
No, and we don't. But when it comes to this dogman creature, whether it's the bipedal canines or whether it's the dogmen that are being seen in Ohio to Wisconsin, I mean, this is something that has just never really been identified as something that people want to mess with. It's always been giving off these fearful thoughts, like you have stated on this show numerous times. If hunters raise a gun to it, they immediately almost get this telepathic message in their head stating, I wouldn't do that if I were you. It's going to get real bad.
Exactly.
I mean, this is where, we talk about woo on this show, but how do you not take the message from the woo when you're about to face off against a dogman?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so much we know from investigations and on-site and eyes-on reports. We have that. I mean, that they stand at the edge of the woods. Usually, they're not seen, or they're watching you. They're in the tree lines, or they're standing in dense bush or whatever. They don't take your eyes off you. Everybody says the same thing. But we have not to date. I mean, we've gotten an impression or two, but they're impressions. They're not prints. And, we don't have a clue. And I'm being very honest. We don't know what they are, where they come from. But they go way back. That's the thing that just strikes everybody that's investigating this stuff. They go way back. I mean, there's documents that go way back that these things have been around since, or like the earliest one I found was 1858 rather. And so the description's exactly the same. We don't know what they are, why they're there. Haven't recorded any deaths. Now, that's strange in itself because they're supposed, they're wolf-like, so I'm assuming that they have wolf-like traits, characteristics, and thought pattern. I gotten a hold of the amount of people killed by wolves, and this goes back into the 16th, 17th century, up until last week, and it's amazing. Some were killed, some were maimed, some were just scared to death, but they were attacked. But we can't find anything on these bipedals or dogmen of any type of attack or killing or eating or anything like that. And, some of the attacks people claim were bears where somebody was killed. Let me tell you something, and you know this just from where you live, you know this. A bear kills you, he's having lunch. He's not saving you for a Christmas dinner. He's not doing anything. He's going to eat you. End of story. And we just can't find anything like that on these dogmen and bipedals. And it's like, everybody knew about Bray Road and Dogman out there and those things. But why we got those first couple reports, and now I guess what we had 59 or something like that, or 64 or something. But ours are in a concentrated area. Now I don't know much about how far the Bray Road research area is, but I know ours is 155 miles by 85 miles. Those are the dimensions. So we're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square, of really heavily wooded area. We've never had any hunters encounter these things, with the exception of, when I say that, I mean hunters that were out during hunting season, where the forest is flooded with guys in orange vests. I'm just talking about, we had 1, 2, 3. We've had 3 where hunters on their own encountered these creatures. But you would think, with all the hunters in Pennsylvania that are out, that the reports would be piled up on my desk, but they're not. The Bigfoot sightings have picked up in the state. Some out in the northwestern part of our state, and some in the mid center of our state, and a couple in the northern part of our state, northeast area. But they're few and far between. But they have picked up. And when I say that, if we had 2 last year, we got 4 now. So it's could these guys have accidentally conjured up a skinwalker by talking about it? I don't know enough about the lore of the skinwalker, and when you try to dig into that, it's very generic, in the descriptions of skinwalker. There's nothing really where you had maybe a researcher or a group or something like that actually going out after that particular creature. Now, the Navajo police, they got many, many reports of skinwalkers. But again, they can't share them, so you don't know what the reports are. But the one that I did come across, though, was a gentleman who was drunk, basically. Didn't work, always drunk, and he was standing around the local whatever out there, 7-Eleven or something like that, loaded, telling people he's not afraid of, these skinwalkers and they're a joke and blah, 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 shooting his mouth off.
Always.
And he disappeared. They found him on another reservation about 35 miles away, ripped to shreds and stuffed into a trash container. 2 months later.
That's not very friendly. Not good hosting whatsoever.
Well, I'm going to just take us to an update. You remember we talked about the North Carolina, the 77-year-old school teacher that was killed while walking her dogs back in February 2019?
Yes.
Okay. Well, till this date, they still have no idea what killed that woman. I mean, she was mauled, basically shredded, laying in a ditch. Her dogs stayed by her side. The dogs were tested. They tested about 14 other dogs in the area. All the DNA tests, no coyote, wolf, no hybrid offsprings, bear, anything like that. No cougar, no other predators on all the DNA they took. They have no idea what killed this woman. It's still an open case with the Sheriffs Department, but they have no idea. And that was just updated 2 weeks ago.
Do you think it's cryptid?
I think it is, yeah.
With what creature?
I guess I would probably say a bipedal of some sort. Because, I mean, the woman, her arms, scalp, I mean, she was just shredded and blood drained out of her. I mean, she was just bad. It was bad. I mean, they did everything right from the get-go. I mean, they DNA tested. They had people coming in from the state. listing all the predators that could have done something like it. Nothing matched up. There was the wounds to this woman, 77-year-old school teacher who was just walking her dogs at 5:30 in the morning, was just attacked and mauled very bad. It was very bad, and they actually found her laying in a ditch. And her dogs were right nearby. I mean, they tested dogs, and dogs, nothing wrong with her dogs. And like I said, they took 14 DNA test samples from pets in the area, and that all turned out negative. But all what they, claimed in DNA that they took from the body and, the general area, nothing matched anything. No predators.
And the thing is, if it was a wild pack of dogs that did this, her dogs wouldn't have stuck around. They would have been attacked as well.
Not only that, but the DNA, the canine DNA, would have showed up instantly. And they actually have. It's like one sheriff stated in the story. He said all the DNA that they took, including the samples from the neighborhood dogs and stuff like that, her dogs, nothing, zero, nothing matches. They have. It's just like the head sheriff said. He said, "We have no idea what killed this woman. We just don't know."
Yeah, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And, what about Bigfoot? I mean, we hear, as we got about 2.5 minutes to go before we go to break at the top of the hour, Butch Witkowski is our guest. Butch, we hear about these aggressive Bigfoot along the, the bayous of Louisiana, Texas, in that area. All right? We don't hear about a lot of Bigfoot attacks on the West Coast here. Could that have been a pissed-off Bigfoot?
In that particular area of North Carolina, I can count the amount of Bigfoot cases on one hand. I mean, it's just not seen. No reports. It's in Beaufort County, which is you got a big Marine base there at Paris Island, but they don't have those kind of predators. They don't. No Bigfoot reports in that area. Coyote, wolf, even hybrids. They thought maybe a hybrid dog of some sort, but no matter what kind of dog it would have had canine DNA, and nothing. They don't have cougars. They don't have, the couple other predators they have are pretty much nothing, but they just don't know. And what's kind of strange about that, and I haven't followed up on that one for a little bit, and maybe I'll do that tomorrow, is you remember the little boy that was lost out in the wilderness in the cold, and he said the teddy bear took care of him?
Yes.
Do you know the woman, the kid was dirty, it was all mud, dirt, and stuff like that. And instead of the police, just show you how some people don't think. Instead of them taking all the clothing, from the kid to be tested, hair samples, DNA, whatever, they told her it was okay to wash them. A note to your listeners that do research and investigation: whatever you see, no matter how mundane it looks, if it doesn't belong there, you need to bag it, tag it, and look it over, or have it looked at. I mean, that's just the way it is. You're not going to have anybody walk up and hand you evidence. You've got to use your head a little bit. And, I mean, the first thing they should have done was, got the kid out of those clothes, bagged them, tagged them, sent them to a lab to have them checked. Instead, the policeman told her okay to wash the clothes, so that's what she did.
Butch, on that note, we're going to come back. We're going to take some audience questions here on Spaced Out Radio Strange Days with Butch Witkowski next with Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Give me a couple seconds here, Butch.
Okay.
Grimwitch. Oh my God. Really? Dude, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that super chat. But thank you so much. I promise you I will ask Butch's question. Extremely way too kind, dude. Extremely way too kind. Thank you for the unexpected love. $100 super chat, Butch.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a little stunned right now. A little stunned. Wow. That one took the breath out of me. I don't deserve that. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I'll get to the rest of you. Butch, I'm going to run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, yeah, I got to fill my tea glass.
Okay. Be right back, guys.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little different. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky.
Okay, Butcherino, are you back?
I am back, sir.
I'm still a little stunned here. Wow. Holy shit. All right. Cable Guy Matt is here. You can get your free piece of Halloween coaxial cable courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. He's limited it up to 2 per household during this Halloween special. Remember, folks, you cannot buy these in stores. Hit up Cable Guy Matt today. Who else am I missing here? Oh, dude, I am just still stunned by that. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, we've got 55 seconds here. Hey, D. Ocean Swagger, how are you? Faps, what the fuck, guys? Come on. I don't deserve that. Thank you, Fap. Hi, Thurston. How are you? All right, here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you for taking the time to tune us in. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Macabre. Macabre is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Butch Witkowski from Strange Days. He comes in near the end of each month to go over everything strange and weird, and this is more than just his mustache and goatee combination. His website is uf4cop.com. Butch, welcome back.
I'm here. We're ready for questions.
All right, let's get to some questions here from the audience. We're going to start off with Grimwitch here, who is asking, it says, love the show, Dave. Could you ask Butch if he knows of dogmen here in the foothills of North Carolina? I want to look into it.
Yes, there have been. They're a couple years old, and when I say couple, I'm going to say 3, maybe 4 years old. A couple of them are up around the Brown Mountain area. So, I mean, that's a pretty rugged area. But I'm sure if you would just... if you would Google bipedal canine or dogmen in North Carolina, I'm sure those reports will pop up for you.
All right. Let's see where things are going here as we continue with the questions from the audience here. I'm a little rattled right now, Butch. I apologize about that.
Okay.
I got to scroll way up in the chat room to try and find this here. Let's see here. Any gnome reports from Corrance the booking guy?
No. No. None.
Good. What's the strangest cryptid report you've got this year?
The strangest. Miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex.
What?
Yeah. It's kind of what I said. What?
Okay, you got to go more into detail than that, than just telling us about that.
Okay. Well, it was just, a lady said that she saw what looked to her to be a miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex, about 1.5 feet high. She said she looked up some pictures of Tyrannosaurus Rex, and that's what it looked like. And it was in her backyard, and it scurried off into the brush, and that's the only encounter she had. But she swears and declares that's exactly what it was. I really don't need miniature Tyrannosaurus Rexes.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. You know, we hear these dinosaurs, Butch, all over the place. Raptors running around the deserts. These mini raptors. Tyrannosaurus Rexes. We got Mokele Mbembe in the Congo jungle. I mean, you know, you think of these sea creatures, if they truly exist, like Loch Ness or Champ or Ogopogo. I mean, those are supposed to be plesiosaurs, or allegedly. You know, this is all stuff that has died out. Where the heck are all of a sudden... Oh, and we can't forget the pterodactyls. Can't forget them.
Oh, yeah.
What is going on with all of these dinosaurs?
And especially the pterodactyls and whatever's flying around up in Chicago. I mean, that's almost become a daily thing, reports on that. Lon Strickler's 40 group is the ones that are really involved in that one. But it just seems like every day there's a new report of something, either on the ground or in the sky. I don't know how you can misidentify a pterodactyl or anything like that with anything. I just don't know how you could do that. But that's what the people are reporting. And they're seen on the ground. A lot of them are seen right around O'Hare Airport and by people that work at the airport, not by, just people getting on a plane. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to wrap my head around stuff like that where, but there's so many reports, it's crazy. I mean, we're not talking about 1, 2, or 5. We're talking about many reports. They seem to like to hang out over the water areas. Chicago, they've been seen in downtown Chicago on top of buildings. I mean, there's just all over the airport. They've been spotted by pilots and people that work at the airport. Last one I read was one was on the ground at a UPS depot. So either that or those folks out there have a great imagination. But I can't see that. I mean, not all the descriptions are alike. They're similar, but not, not right on the money. So who knows what they are.
All right. Well, I just don't understand if people are actually seeing these, or maybe they're looking into almost a shift in time going back and they're actually viewing maybe through a portal or something.
That's been brought up a couple times. I wish there was more investigations or investigators involved in portals and time travel, time lapse, and all that kind of stuff. Because it's like I said earlier in the program, where you have reports of a flash of light and there's a Bigfoot stand there, then there's another flash of light and it's gone. What's with the flash of light? What does that mean? Or something running through the woods that somebody's got an eyeball on, they're watching it, and all of a sudden there's a faded or light-colored yellow light, and boom, it disappears. I don't say that portals don't exist. I just think there's nobody really that has ever really gotten to delve into them to a great depth. I mean, I know a lot of people bring them up, that it's it disappeared into a portal or it's a time travel or whatever, but there's nobody really doing any real research on that.
I don't know. That's the big mystery for me, because I think a lot of these human disappearances are that. But let's move on here. Princess Denali is asking, Butch, if we have CE5 contact, wouldn't it be the same with Dogman or Bigfoot?
Yeah, it could be, sure.
Okay. So do you believe that these creatures are telepathically communicating with humans?
They could be, sure. Well, look at the guys that raise their rifle ready to shoot. And in their head, they're told, don't do it. It's not a voice. I mean, it's just something in their head, so it's telepathic.
But that could also be human nerves, could it not?
Yeah, but why would so many people have that same thing? You know, it's just like, it's not like one or two people. I mean, even people that have encountered these bipedals where they're just being watched, and or like the lady that started screaming when she saw the one in the tree line. I mean, it stepped toward them, growling, which we never had anything like that. And everybody had the same feeling that, you know, we need to leave now or we're all going to die. And they all had that same thought. So can they telepathically? I mean, telepathy has been brought up in Bigfoot cases. So is it possible? Well, anything's possible, I guess. But there just aren't any researchers out there that have designated that as their, you know, their primary investigation. And if anybody has never read the CE5 book, they need to read it. It's very interesting and it's very enlightening, and that's what it's called, CE5.
All right, let's move on. Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Shar is asking whether or not all of these creatures, Bigfoot, Dogman, these dinosaurs, yes, they carry swords with them, dinosaurs are all interdimensional or maybe multidimensional. I'll throw that in.
That could be. I mean, you know, there have been numerous reports. One sticks out in Ohio where, in my head, where two gentlemen were hunting. They were in open field hunting small game, and they saw this creature run out of the woods and run across the field. Their best description, I think, was Dogman was their best description. And they said it just, as it ran, it just disappeared. There have been cases out in western Pennsylvania where a Bigfoot type of creature was seen in a yard behind a home. And the folks inside went in, got a gun, and came out, and they just watched it vanish. So, yeah, interdimensional. And again, we have no researchers out there that are actually. I mean, it would take a lot to get into that. I mean, telepathy and interdimensional, and I don't know. I don't have an answer for it, but it's very possible that could be involved. There could be an involvement of that.
Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Butch, there's a lot of flap lately about whether or not, I guess the latest argument coming out since the UFO world has kind of calmed down due to the coming U.S. election. But now there's a lot of people talking about trying to bring all of this together under the paranormal umbrella. Now, this isn't different from anything we have talked about in the past, but are more and more people starting to investigate the fact that this could all be tied together?
Yeah, that's true. And I'm one of them, where I think that whatever the connection is, there is a connection between what we call the paranormal and what we call ufology and what we call cryptozoology. I think somewhere along the line, somehow, they're all connected because, you have reports over the years where there have been UFO landings or a UFO has been sighted and a Bigfoot's been sighted at the same time, or you have a paranormal group reports, a shadow being that had all the dimensions and the shape and size and outline of a dogman or a bipedal. So, could they all be connected? Yeah, because, when you just break apart what paranormal is, I mean, UFOs are paranormal, cryptozoology is paranormal, ghosts are paranormal, and then there's that whole gamut in between, like you're talking about sea creatures, and, what do you classify those as? If they're in the water, they're cryptozoology. If they're on land, they could be paranormal. Or they could be, not of this planet. So I think the field is getting more interesting because people are asking more questions than they ever did. I mean, usually the questions on a radio show were, oh, do you believe in UFOs? Oh, okay. Well, who's piloting them? Well, I don't know. Well, where'd they come from? I have no idea. And that was the end of it. But now people are asking more questions. They're looking at it from different angles. And just my opinion that I in some way, shape, or form, this is all connected somehow. I mean, it just has to be. I just can't see that, being that the classifications were done by many years ago, set by somebody who just did UFOs, and there's cryptozoology was set by somebody who was just looking for strange animals, and the paranormal was just set up by ghosts. Now, I mean, ghost organizations go back to the 17th, 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries where you had groups studying the paranormal in England. And as a matter of fact, the oldest UFO organization in the world is in England. So I think it's just, as time goes on and more people talk about it, more researchers talk about it, and there's more stuff being published about it, there's more radio shows like yours. Things that were really never discussed to any great length are now being discussed, and, people are asking questions just like this one, like, could they all be paranormal? Yeah. In my opinion, yeah.
All right, let's move on, Butch, as we continue on with some questions here from our audience. And let's get to Eleni over in the United Kingdom. Beautiful Eleni, staying up or getting up early to listen to this show. She is asking, so what is the difference then between a dogman and a Wendigo?
Okay, well, a Wendigo, or skinwalker, usually took the shape of a animal of any type. So as long as it had the skin of that particular animal or a feather, if they had an eagle feather, they could become an eagle. If they had the skin of a chipmunk, they could become a chipmunk. If they had this, but most all the Wendigo sightings were wolves or some type of combination of wolf and other animal. But the difference between a Wendigo and the bipedal that we're talking about and investigating is that Wendigos are flesh eaters. They were eaters of the dead. And they hung around burial grounds, burial sites. They would dig up bodies. They would feed on, murder victims that they killed. And there's the Navajo especially give a great reverence to these Wendigo because of the power that they have. To become a Wendigo in indigenous lore, you have to kill a family member. So if you got a crazy Uncle Ed or something like that and you want to take him out, then you could qualify as a Wendigo because it's all black magic, it's all black art. It's the dark side of everything that the indigenous believe.
All right, so let's vary this again. Wendigo and the skinwalker, is there a difference?
No, there's really not a difference because the skinwalkers, the Wendigo was named by the Navajo, and Cherokee and Cheyenne called them skinwalkers, only because of what I just described. Whatever skin they had was the shape they could take. So skinwalker and Wendigo are pretty much the same thing, just different names.
They also have different characteristics, though. Isn't the Wendigo much like it's carrying like sticks for arms?
In some photos that I've seen, but mostly they take the shape of whatever they are, or whatever they're trying to be, or whatever they become. So if they take the shape of a coyote, they'll be that size. They'll have a lot of looks of that coyote, but they may have the humanoid look of a chest, a human chest or legs, maybe bipedal and quadruped at the same time. So, I mean, there's differences between tribes, how they were described. But when you get right down to it, a Wendigo is a flesh eater. I mean, they will kill just to eat. And a skinwalker could make your whole family sick and die. That, as far as I was concerned, that was always the only two differences I ever saw between them, where the Wendigo was a killer, and the skinwalker was, in some tribes describe them as a prankster. Some tribes describe them as, a walking illness. But they can kill also, but they don't eat. They don't eat the victim, where the Wendigo will. And they have found bodies over time on reservations that were eaten, and not by animals. And that's another thing. It's just like to make a relation to that, where cattle mutilations are not. They're passed up by predators. A predator won't go near a cattle mute and just walk around it. They'll pass up a free meal, no problem. Same thing with a body of a Wendigo victim. Nothing will go near it.
We have Butch Witkowski on Spaced Out Radio tonight, and we are taking some audience questions here as we continue on. With the Wendigo and the Skinwalker, I mean, we both know that it's dark arts. We both know that it is something that is supposed to be a medicine man or a shaman that's gone to the dark side or gone rogue or turned bad or whatever it may be. All right. But with that, is there curses that go along with that? That leads to what Worsley was kind of putting into the chat room here.
Well, yeah, the curse, how can I explain this? The curse, as we would know as a curse, like somebody puts a curse or a hex on you, okay? Where with a shaman, the shaman creates the curse on himself. In other words, he does things that are only zeroed in on him to get him to a point where he makes that decision that he's going to kill a family member or whatever they have to do at that point, whichever one you're talking about, and do the change, make that change where, he has the ability to change from this to that anytime he wants. There are, for as much power as they say they have, or that the tribes say they have, there are ways that you can tell if you're encountered one or there's one close by.
Butch, hold that thought right there. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days, continuing on Spaced Out Radio, his website, UFOcop.com. We'll be back with more of Cranky Old Butch right after this. All right, we're clear.
Okay.
I got to say some thank yous here because, guys, I don't deserve all of this, okay? I don't know what's up with you guys tonight, if you just had too many happy pills or whatever. But Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Fapster, Grimwitch, Science Bob now, Brett Lewis, Cat Chaser, what the Sam fuck is going on here, people? I don't believe this. Like, this is nuts. You guys have taken, I don't deserve this. Wow. This is a first. Old Dave is just, honestly, just shut the hell up here. Wow. This is just absolutely stupid. And I mean that it being extremely complimentary. Thank you. I'm extremely humbled. I feel like I should crawl under my desk and hide. I'm very emotional right now. Thank you. Very emotional right now. Patrick Noble, you got to be shitting me right now. You guys are crazy. Honestly, you guys are crazy. Right now. Chris Mo, thank you. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. You guys are... Wow. You guys are crazy. Thank you. Very humbled. I'm very humbled. Thank you. We have 2 minutes, Butch.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, you did, Princess Denali. Oh, goodness. I feel very sheepish right now. Very sheepish. I don't even know. DB Cooper's not even in here. I'm scared to see what would happen if he came in. Honestly, people, thank you. I feel very blessed every night to broadcast to all of you, and I always mean it when I say that I try and put you guys as an audience first, and I do a lot of this for you guys, and the love you have back is just, it's unbelievable. Thank you. Here we go, Butch. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Great hair, great voice, face for radio, and talking the woo with all of you on tonight's show. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with Butch Witkowski. Strange Days happens near the end of each month where we hang out and just discuss the weirdness of the month since the last time he was on. And Butch, we always say thank you for you coming on in. His website is ufocop.com. Butch, appreciate you being here, my friend.
Happy to be here.
No, we're happy to have you here, brother. We are happy to have you here. Let's continue on. I got lost with some of these questions here, so I may just have to make one up off the top of my head. I hope you don't mind that. I hope you don't mind. Butch,
nope.
Butch, right before the break, we were talking about all these strange creatures like dinosaurs, that are being seen by people. When these sightings happen, are they happening in areas where there is a lot of Bigfoot sightings, a lot of Dogman sightings? Are they happening in an area where there's been a lot of UFOs or paranormal activity?
Actually, no. They're usually in areas like O'Hare Airport, downtown Chicago, the outskirts of Chicago, along the lake, the Great Lakes. I mean, it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to them, but in those areas, they're basically, city and urban areas, and I mean, it's not like there's a lot of farmland and forestry up around Chicago. They're seen a lot over the water, but no, not really. They just for some reason around the a lot of them around the airport. They've been seen in parks by people. Like I said before, they've been seen on top of buildings. They've been seen by police officers. It's really strange because it's almost at the point now where a day doesn't go by that a report doesn't come in on those things.
Okay.
And they're multi-witness. I mean, it's just not like one person seeing these. There was the one case I remember early on where a busload of people visiting the wharf in Chicago, which is like eatery and gift shops and all that stuff, tourist trap. A whole busload of people saw these things flying, and kind of made me crazy because you get all these people who are tourists, right? Nobody took a picture.
I mean, yeah, but you know what? I don't blame those people for not taking that photo, Butch.
No, that happens a lot.
I don't, because they're so caught off guard with what they are seeing, okay, that it's incredible. The emotion, when you see something that shouldn't exist, the incredible emotion that is going on is crazy.
Yeah. I've taken to the point where you know what a police camera is, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have those. And when I go out, I turn it on. When I'm in the field, I turn it on. And I learned a trick from a friend of mine who said, why don't you mount a GoPro on your backpack facing backwards so you can see if anything's following you? I thought, that's a great idea. So I'd probably be the same way if something walked out on me like that. Could I grab that camera around my neck and turn it on and focus or do whatever I got to do to take the shot? When I have this, I have a body cam on that's recording video and sound. And they're not that expensive. If you buy the police model, you're looking at about $600. If you buy, I guess it would be like for the general public, you can get them on eBay for like $100. And they're good for a couple hours. The police one that I have, the battery, and that's good for 8 hours. So, and mine's also infrared. I mean, it goes both. It'll switch to infrared at night. So, but yeah, I'd be the same way. I mean, if I didn't have that, if I had to grab a camera, till I got the camera up and everything else, everything would be all over. These sightings don't last that long.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And in that fleeting glimpse, though, I mean, the other thing that we have to discuss about this, too, if by chance somebody actually does capture something on camera, that's when we get what we call the blob squatch coming out. And for people who don't know what that is, that's usually the blurry photos, the blurry videos, the grainy videos and photos, and, it just makes a mess of what they saw. They're trying to describe what they saw, and the photo looks nothing like what they said they saw.
Right. Well, that's there's a little debate about that, because there was a gentleman, Washington State, I believe, or Oregon. I'm going to have to fish back in my head a little bit on this one. A professional photographer. And he had a research area for Bigfoot that he was watched for years. I mean, spent most of his off time up there. Very good camera equipment. I mean, state of the art. And he was watching this one trail that came out into an open field. He was on the other side of the field, but with the telephoto lens he had on, he could watch fleas having sex at 100 miles. And he saw the creature. He took the photographs, and it walked away into the woods. When he looked at the photographs, the creature itself was just a blurry mess. But the leaves behind the creature and alongside the creature were that crystal clear that he could count the veins. And a matter of fact, on the one leaf there was a ladybug, and it picked up that ladybug. But the creature itself was all blurred out. The rest of it around the creature that was captured in the photograph was perfect. So, is it the camera? Is it the operator? Or is it the Bigfoot? What causes that problem?
I don't know. That's the issue. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, that's an issue.
It's hard to fathom that a Bigfoot or a dogman would be able to flip a switch on themselves to make themselves blurry on any type of technology.
We don't really know that, do we?
I don't know.
No. I mean, for all that we know, there is so much we don't know. It makes you crazy. I could sit in the library and go over things, researching something, and I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours, and when I'm done, I got nothing. I didn't even get close to the answer I was looking for. But that's the nature of it. I mean, you got to ask questions, you got to look, you got to try to figure it out. I mean, I go through legal pads like most people change underwear.
I don't know how to respond to that. I don't want to know about your underwear changing habits. All right, let's get to another question here, and this one comes from Pharmacy. actually, it's more of a comment. He says, so true, even catching a deer with a camera in your pocket when you don't expect them is a miss as well. So,
right.
I mean, are we just, okay, so that brings up another fact. Take away the woo factor of them having some sort of technology built into them to make everything blurry, because wild animals do it too.
Yeah.
So that means that we are extremely slow on the draw.
Yeah, that's pretty much why I went to the body cams. And GoPros are great too. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple great cameras out there that can take that human factor out totally. You know, all you got to do is make sure the camera's on. That's all you have to do. It'll focus, it'll photograph, it'll video, whatever you have it set at, all on its lonesome. There is no nothing in the factor for being a bumblefoot. Pardon that.
I don't blame you.
But it's whoever just said that, it's true. I mean, I tried to take a picture the other maybe 2 or 3 months ago. There was a very large hawk on my shed out back. He was just sitting up there, and very good camera, a Nikon, and took the picture. Got a great shot of the shed and a bunch of feathers, but it's tough. I think the more that you can automate, that you don't have that human factor involved,
yes,
the better off you're going to be.
True.
And now, when I get to the scene, we'll video and we'll take pictures of the scene, where we're at, the camp setup, what our field of vision is. We put markers out, and, do whatever we're going to do that way. But if you had to have somebody sitting there watching, other than having surveillance cameras out, and you had to wait for them to see what they saw, go through the factor of like, oh crap, what's that? Till they pick up the camera, turn it on, that's gone. Whatever you were going to take a picture of ain't there anymore. So the more you can automate, especially video. I mean, they have, you can take a regular video camera and put it on a tripod. Like, say you're watching a certain particular area with the type of camera with the right lens on it. You can get a pretty wide shot of what's going on. And if you go to B&H Photo up in New York, they have battery packs. So you have your regular battery that you take out of your camera, out of your video camera, and you put this battery adapter in there, and then it goes to a battery pack that you can hang off the side of the tripod or put on the ground, whatever you want to do. But it's good for like 12 hours. So you can have that thing continuously run as long as you have the right card. And, you're not going to do that with a 512 megabyte card. You're going to need a pretty sizable card, maybe a terabyte or two. And they're not expensive at all. But there's ways of getting around taking the human factor and taking it out of the equation. Now, if you did all that and you still have really clear pictures of everything but what you were trying to get, and that's all blurry, then there's something to that. I mean, whatever we think it could be, whether it's it has some control over the camera or it's not really there, there's just so many ways of looking at it. But, I mean, every investigator faces those challenges, even if they're doing recordings. The recorders that we have are Zooms, H2s. They're very good. They'll pick up, anything. I mean, you can't talk around them, so you got to put them away from wherever you're standing, and face the mics in whatever direction you want to go. But they'll pick up everything from a woodpecker to, that. And that's another thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, I heard these wood knocks." When you listen to it over the tape recorder, it's a woodpecker. So it helps. There's different. There's a whole realm of things you can do. Some of it's expensive, and some of it's not really expensive. We have drones. I gave up on drones, so I just have no use for them. because when I'm looking down on the area I'm looking at treetops. That's not helping me a bit. What I'd really like to get into, but it's just outrageous price-wise, is LiDAR, where you can send up a drone with LiDAR and then remove everything and see what's under the tree canopies. But my wife would kill me.
How much is it?
About $12,000.
Oh, you could do it. You can slough that off. Go for it, Butch.
I survived a massive heart attack. I don't think I'd survive my wife with a shotgun.
She wouldn't know. She wouldn't know. You've got a hidden stash somewhere. You know, a few jars of coins put away.
Yeah, right. But she knows where every jar is.
Very true. Butch Witkowski, Strange Days, continuing here on Spaced Out Radio. Human Carl, not to be mixed up with Alien Carl or Demon Hunter Carl. Human Carl is asking, Butch, have you got any good pics made by your body cam?
I've had, there is a drawback to the body cam. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that. They're good for about 50 yards, okay? That you will get a clear picture. And that will be either an achiever model or a police model. They're all on that 50-yard range because I guess that's when police are actually active with somebody or what's going on. They're usually closer than that. And I saw movement ahead of me along a tree line, but I was close to that tree line, and I just faced it because I knew the camera was doing it, and then it kind of stopped and went away. So when I got back and put the card in the computer and the laptop to see what I saw, I would say if I had to put money on it, it was probably a deer because I only got the back end of it. I didn't see the tail, but I got the back end of it, and the color. The color was wrong. The bipedals are dark color. They're either solid black or they're very, very dark brown. The same thing with Bigfoot. You know, you're talking about an animal with brown hair. I know that some people say there's white ones running around, albinos, but I'm not buying that one yet until they get better pictures. But, yeah, it worked. It did what I wanted it to do. So, you know, and I put it right in the middle of my chest on my straps to my pack. Just stick it right in the center in the middle, and then that way, you know, no matter which way I turn, that camera's getting a full shot of what I'm looking at the same time. And the GoPro on the back that's attached to the back of my pack, I just run it. You know, it's a wide-angle lens, so.
Have you caught anything behind you yet?
No, not yet. Mm-mm. Nope. Kind of hoping that I don't have one behind me.
That would be freaky. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Butch, a lot of the times when people have sightings, okay?
Yeah.
They see an individual creature. Yet we are led to believe that these creatures don't run alone. They may be seen solitary, but there's usually more around. Do you believe that statement, or do you believe that it depends on the species?
I believe it's the species, what type of creature it is, but all the reports that I've seen from the past and present and the ones we have now, it's been a solitary creature. It's not, no big one, no little one, where you see some Bigfoot reports, and not really here in Pennsylvania. Most of those are in the east coast of Canada and in the Nova Scotia area. Algonquin tribes up in that area say that they've seen, a mama, a papa, a couple babies and that kind of stuff, families of Bigfoot. I've never seen any reports here of that. There's some in Washington State, some in Oregon, where there's a male, a female, and maybe a juvenile Bigfoot. But we don't have anything like that I've seen here in Pennsylvania. We may have, but I haven't seen it.
So you believe that they are solitary creatures unless they're in a family atmosphere, so to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So it would almost be like the feline, that most felines in the jungle, like big cats, tigers, jaguars, they don't hang around where other male jaguars are.
Right.
They go for their own territory. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes a lot of sense. And why not? You do have to adapt to the territory that you are in.
Right, exactly.
Right? All right.
Yep.
Well, that makes sense. Thanks for clarifying that, Butch. Don't know what else I'm supposed to say here. So we got 3.5 minutes here before we go to break at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues as we go on here. Okay. With that being said, that these are solitary creatures and we really haven't got any footage out of it, Nick is asking, it's been almost 70 years, that we've been looking for all of this weird, strange stuff on the current timeline. Yeah. Okay. Why hasn't there been anything that's 100% conclusive?
Boy, I wish I had an answer for that one. I fish around my head with that every day. All the time spent on and money looking for whatever, wherever, day in, day out, research, investigations, reports, big time expeditions, looking for Yeti and everything else. You're talking a lot of money. And nothing. We have nothing. A lot of eyewitness testimony, a lot of footprints, but no DNA, no hair, nothing. If you had to rate all the investigations of Bigfoot, or Dogman, or the bipedal canine, and you total those up, the sum total would be 0. As far as what you've gathered in research. Now, what we have pegged down, though, is that through all the sightings, and like I said, our research area is very big. It's huge. So these people aren't bumping into each other on a trail somewhere. These people don't even know what county they're in half the time. Where the similarities or the exact descriptions of these things does prove one thing. There is something out there that people are saying. It is the same creature. It acts the same way. It looks the same. Its body mass is the same. Everything is the same. The thoughts of, flight, flee, fight, whatever you want to call it. Everybody has that. So there's something there. Now, what we don't find in Bigfoot reports is that same thing where you have a multitude of people seeing something in a certain area. It's usually 1 or 2 folks. There aren't that many expeditions out for Bigfoot. There's just too much land to cover. That'd be like dropping me off at the airport in Washington State and telling me to find your house on foot. Nobody'd ever see me again. That'd be it. And the amount of researchers, there are more researchers out there at this point looking for dogmen, bipedal canines, things running around the swamps, Rougarou down in Louisiana, skunk apes and all that stuff,
right,
than there are looking for Bigfoot.
Butch, let's hold it right there, because when we come back, Butch, after the break, we got you for another 30 minutes. I want to get into some paranormal stories, because after all, it is close to Halloween, and we need to get spooked out by the crankiest cryptid of them all, Butch Witkowski and Strange Days, here on Spaced Out Radio. right, buddy. I'm just going to step away for a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
I got to go potty.
All right. Don't forget to shake less than 4 times. Okay?
Okay.
Radio. Our sales department
back,
is
everyone.
waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightline Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and we have some cool swag for you to pick up. All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada.
The old Mighty Moose Beard Oil. I got some right here. Where'd I put it? Oh, there it is. Right there. MightyMooseBeard.com. Keeps my beard looking nice and smooth. Like Butch Witkowski's head. Hey, Butch!
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff there, man. Pretty good stuff. And my hair's looking pretty wild tonight.
That bad, huh?
Oh, all over the place. All over the place.
Maybe you need a perm.
I thought about it. I think I may go, once I grow my hair out a little bit, I may go with a beehive or something like that.
What about an afro?
Too gray. too gray.
Have you considered spray paint?
I have, but you know, I don't have the, you know, the. I'm not coloring my hair. No, I'm not coloring my hair. I'll color my beard because I hate my. I don't mind my hair color up top. I hate my beard color. I do. All right. We got about 50 seconds here. The gnomes laugh at your beard, Dave. Yes, they do, Corrance. Yes, they do. I want to say a big thank you to Chris Mo, Patrick Noble, Grimwitch, Science Bob, Fapster, and Brett Lewis, and Cat Chaser for the amazing night on the Super Chats. I have never been so emotional and humbled in my life for that, and I thank you. And we're going to kick off hour number 3 here right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Macabre. Macabre is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski. Strange Days continues here on the mighty SOR, Butch's website, UFOcop.com. If you have any weird, strange sightings, let him know. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
I want to get into some paranoia and paranormal stories here tonight, okay? Because it is getting closer to Halloween, and everybody knows you as the Dogman guy, the bipedal guy, UFO guy, Bigfoot guy. But a lot of people don't really know you also are deep in investigation for paranormal activity as well. What's the creepiest story you think you've ever tried to track down?
Well, I would have to say I went along with a group a number of years ago just to see how they handled the case, what investigative techniques they use, what type of equipment they use, and basically how they conducted themselves. And it was in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and it was a family that had just moved in. It was their grandmother's house. She had passed away a month earlier, and they were in the midst of moving in. It was right after Christmas. So we got to the house, and the family left, went up a couple blocks up the street to the sister's house, and one sister stayed at the house with us in case we needed anything or she could show us or tell us what was going on. Now, the problem was that a 13-year-old girl who slept up on the third floor was attacked. And when I say attacked, she was slapped around a little bit and pushed off the bed and stuff like that. That was one. 2 was a light that would go on in the master bedroom all by itself. And it was one of those lights where, you know, you turn the switch on, it goes on, and you go turn it on, turn the switch again, it gets a little brighter, turns like a three-way bulb. Okay, so that was the second thing. And the third thing was just strange things going on in the boys' room. There were 2 boys. And the one little fella, probably 4 or 5, when we were there and the guys were setting up their equipment and cameras and all that stuff, he said he picked up this toy that was inside one of these packages that you need a hacksaw and a hand grenade to open up. And it was a little doll and a little heart there, and you pushed on the heart, and it said, you know, kind of, will you play with me? Will you do this? Will you do that? Will you be my friend? You know, a little girly voice. And so he wanted to open it up, and they said, no, look, you got that for Christmas. As soon as we unpack, there's other stuff here that you didn't even open yet, so we'll get all that done in the next couple of days. He bought that, and off they went. So these guys deployed all their cameras, and they had cameras in every room, infrared, thermal, the whole 9 yards, recording devices also. And there was people in every room in that house. In the kitchen, I was relegated to watching the monitor, which was covering all the cameras. So where I was from in the kitchen to the living room area was 10 feet, maybe. And the girl sitting beside of me, the sister, she said, well, I don't know if anything's going to happen tonight. And I said, well, you know, you're asking the wrong guy. I said, I'm just here as an observer. And so the first thing was saw the light go on in the bedroom. Now, there was nobody in that bedroom. They were in another room down the hall. But we saw the light go on. So I got them on the radio, and I said the light went on in the master bedroom. So I could see them. I could see everybody. I could see everybody, what they were doing, where they were at. And they walked in, and the light was on. And he turned it off. And I said, well, you turned it off. How'd you turn it off? What turned it on? He said, well, the switch was on. I said, okay, so he took the switch off. What I didn't see, well, I saw him bend down, but I didn't see what he did. But he actually unplugged the light, unplugged it from the wall. And he walked out, and a couple minutes later, I saw the light go on again. And the girl said to me, she said, hey, the light's on again. So I got him on the radio. I said, the light's on again. He said, no, it's not. I said, yeah, it is. I'm looking at it. And he said, I unplugged it. So he walked in, reached down, pulled the plug up, and was waving the plug at the camera. It was unplugged, and it was still on. Well, that was one. So I thought, you know, that could be anything, I guess. I was trying to talk myself into stuff. So then the next thing was we were just sitting there, and nothing was really going on. And I hear this music starting to play. It's like this little ding-ding-ding-ding-ding, one of those things, right? And the next thing I hear is, I looked at the girl, I said, what the heck is that? She said, that's the doll. So, like I said, I was only 10 foot from the living room, and that's where the doll was, sitting on a chair. And it was still in the package, and it's lit up. And in a man's voice, a very deep man's voice, it says, I see you.
Oh, wow.
Didn't say you want to be my friend, or you want to go out and play, or anything like that. It says, I see you. Now, at this point, this Polish kid was looking for a door to bug out of or a window to jump from, but I couldn't because the big girl that was sitting beside of me had me by the belt. She said, you ain't going nowhere without me. And I'm thinking, lady, I couldn't pull you around on my truck. I mean, she was a big woman. So I got on the radio, and I told them, and I said, did anybody capture that on a recording? So everybody kind of gathered in the kitchen, and the group, or the two people that were down right below in the basement, right below the living room, picked it up. But they can hear the music go off. But in the little girl's voice, it says, I can see you. Now, when they played back everything on that doll, there's no way that doll said, I can see you. Now, I know what I heard. They have what they recorded, which is at the same time. So I went in, picked the doll up, came into the kitchen with it, and we were looking at it. And the actual battery that makes it give it that little tune that it plays for a couple seconds and those couple questions it asks the kid is a little like a hearing aid battery. Because at the bottom it says AA batteries not included.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah. That's basically what I was saying, Dave. Like, I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? Why aren't I home in bed sleeping or down at the local bar getting loaded? So while we were doing all that, they had put a motion detector in that master bedroom. Now, you got to remember, that light is unplugged. There's no power to that light. So everybody's back where they were, downstairs, upstairs, all the rooms, and we're watching the monitor. And she said, the light just went on again. I said, no way. And she said, it's on. I looked, it's on. Got him on the radio. I said, the light's on. He says, what time did it go on? And I looked at the monitor, and it was like 10:45 or something like that, 1:45. And he said, okay. So they went in, and by the time they got there, the light went out. But the motion detector, which is basically hooked up to it's hooked up to a laptop, and it gives you the time and the duration of the motion or the motion that it detected. It was right on the money, exact same time. So that's when I bugged outside and just sat there on the porch for a while, trying to figure out if I should say goodbye before I run down the street and get in my truck and leave, or just wait. But that, to me, was just strange. And the other one was with the same group, and again, I had no knowledge of the type of stuff they were doing. I was very fresh at this. So we're at an Indian burial ground next to an old foundry that's been reconverted. They used to make cannonballs for Civil War there, and over the years it just closed up, and the county made it into a museum for the county. Very nice, very pretty. A lot of outbuildings. And there's a well there, and there's a plaque that tells you about this war between these two different tribes that were killing each other off for years. And the burial mounds, or you can see them along the tree line, they're all over the place. And so they put a flashlight, and that was the first time I saw this done. They take a little mini mag flashlight and they put it up on the well, and ask questions like, you know, if were you a warrior, make the light go on, and the light would go on. Were you killed here? If yes, make the light go out, and the light would go out. Now, that bugged me a little bit because I'm kind of a stickler when it comes to evidence gathering. So I said, you know, those lights are very sensitive. If anybody owns a mini mag light, you can turn them off. Just twist them, turn them off. But you can get them to a point where they're off, but if you just tap them a little bit or actually just shake them, they'll go on. And every time he'd ask a question, he would be really close to it. So I'm thinking that maybe the vibration just from him talking that close is making that light go on and off. So I said, can we try my light? So my LED light is, you got to push a button to turn it on. And it's low, medium, high. And then there's a strobe. And so I turned it off. I gave them the light. They put it up there. And now I explained to them that, you know, to turn this light on, you got to push a button. And I showed them all the light, you know. They put up there. He asked some questions, and the friggin' light went on. So I walked over, picked it up, and the light went off. And pushed the button, and the light went on. So the light was off, but it went on. And that was the second time that I thought, like, I really shouldn't get into this stuff. I'm going to give myself a headache. But the doll, I won't ever forget that. Matter of fact, they sent the recording to me. I have it on my one laptop. Every time I listen to it, I go like, man, these ghost hunting people are a little on the strange side. But it is what it is, you know. I went on another case with them. That was up in northern Pennsylvania. It was actually an Indian family moved from Oklahoma to Pennsylvania. Of course, the daughter took a job with a bank, big-time job with a bank here in Pennsylvania. And they bought a home. And the background story was that they brought something with them, an entity from the tribe, from where they lived on the land, on the Indian land, to this house in Pennsylvania. So, we're discussing, what they're seeing, and they said, well, and it was the biggest kitchen I was ever in. I mean, this kitchen was huge. And he said, well, depending on the time and stuff, sometimes you just see a black shadow just cover that whole wall. I'm thinking like, there ain't no way it's covering that whole wall. There's one little light in here, it's a fluorescent two-tube light. And they ain't going to throw a shadow, and what would cause a shadow to cover the whole wall? I no sooner said that, Dave, there it was. I just shook my head and went like, this is nuts. And then the son-in-law, he says, if you think that's bad, follow me. I went like, here we go. We went downstairs into the basement, very large basement. Half of it was being converted into an apartment for him and his wife, the son-in-law and the wife. And the other room was the heater, washer, and dryer and stuff like that. And he says, check that out. So I walked over, and there was an eagle feather sticking out of the concrete. It wasn't in a hole. It wasn't something that you could just pull out. It was embedded in the concrete. And the house was like 40 years old. And he said, that wasn't here when we came to look at the house. He said, 3 days after we moved in, my wife came down to do some wash, and she saw it, and he said, we don't do the washer anymore. We go to the laundromat. I went like, okay, what's up with that? And he said, that's a very, very bad omen. I went like, oh, brother. So those are my stories of the paranormal involvement that make me think. When people say they see something, I have never said to somebody, no, you didn't, because I saw stuff that I couldn't explain, and the doll was the one that cured me.
I mean, I have heard so much about all of these haunted type dolls through David Weatherly, Ross Allison, Mike Morin, and many others throughout the entire field, Butch. And this just reeks of eeriness. And I don't know what's more scarier, seeing something haunt a child's toy, or something, or running into a ghost face to face, or something along those lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, I'll tell you, when it happened, I was standing, it was 2 steps for me to get to the doorway to see, and it was lit up, and, then said, I see you. But it was a very deep man's voice, and then the playback from the people downstairs that caught it on their recorder, it was the little girl's voice, but basically the same thing. She said, in the little girl's voice, I see you. So, whatever it was there. Now, when the people came home that evening, or earlier that morning, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when they got there, and they put the kids to bed, and we were in the kitchen telling them what we found and all that stuff. And the old man, picked up the doll, walked out, threw it in the burn barrel, and lit it up. Just burned it up.
It's like Ouija boards.
Yeah. I don't mess with those at all. I mean, I've known people that have been researching the macabre and the paranormal for many, many, many years. They won't go near a Ouija board. They won't even walk into a room if there's one in the room. I was at a conference one time where there was a guy that had Ouija boards out for sale, you know, antique ones, new ones, all kinds. And there was a group setting up, and they were told to set up beside of him. They refused. So they moved them over to the other side of the room. Nobody, and there were a lot of people who wouldn't even walk past that. They just walk around it.
Are you that afraid of a Ouija board?
I've read too many stories about those, and I don't think it's fear. I think it's just the unknown. Like when they talk about, people conjuring up things from wherever, demons or whatever, or things start happening at their house after they do a session like that. I just don't want to put myself in that position.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. You know, we've got about 3 minutes to go here, Butch. You know, for people who want to conjure up the dark and the nasty come Halloween night, as we always get those people every time of this year, what's your warning to them?
Stay home, watch football or hockey. No, I always tell people, no matter what they're involved in, whatever it's paranormal or cryptozoology or ufology, just be careful. You know, use your head. I mean, don't put yourself in a position where, first of all, you don't have a place to run to. Second of all, you're by yourself. Don't ever do that. And always tell people where you're going to be and when you're going to be home and when you're leaving and all that stuff. I mean, just common sense stuff. But there's just too many freaky things going on out there, and they get more freaky as time goes on.
You want to hear freaky? I just got a message from a listener, Ron, who on Facebook. Just sent me this,
okay.
like literally 2 minutes ago. Says,
okay.
my neighbor claims Bigfoot broke into his house, stole his dog's collar, and pissed in the laundry basket 2 weeks ago. I got to hear this story, man. I have to hear this story. That is mega woo. Mega woo. We're sitting on potential mega woo here, Butch.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I need to hear more. I need more of this. I need more.
Stole the dog's collar.
Yeah, broke into the house, stole his dog's collar, and peed in the laundry basket 2 weeks ago. So I just typed, I need to hear this, and Ron is typing it out right now. But I need more of this. I need more of this. Dirty Filth is going to have a new portrait to paint here very soon. Oh, my goodness. This is what we need in this world, is Bigfoot not being able to use the toilet, but being able to use the laundry basket because he doesn't like your brand of Tide.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, you can't... he just sent me back. I'll see if he will let me tape it. Please do. Please do. I need more.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. I want this, Butch. Butch, I want to say thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. Once again, my friend, you are a true ambassador of what you do. You're a great friend of this show, and all of us here around our show absolutely love you, buddy.
Good. I'm just great. I'm just grateful to do the show because it's such fun. It's always fun. Always good questions. You know, you got good people, and you know that makes a difference.
Absolutely, it does. Butch's website is uforcop.com. Make sure you check him on out. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. A lot more Spaced Out Radio coming up next. He also just said it threw butter against his fridge.
Oh, Jesus.
I need this in my life. I'm typing that right now. This in my life. I tell you.
How'd the numbers go? How'd the numbers go for the sheet?
Let me see where we checked out at analytics. We topped out at 160 tonight. 160. That's a solid night.
Good.
Yeah, man. Hey, Butch, I appreciate you, brother. You are you're an icon and a mentor of mine. I love you, man.
Hey, same here, but what was happening that you were getting humble? What was that all about?
Oh, dude, my audience just kept donating and donating and donating and donating and donating and donating and donating, and it just got a little overwhelming, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, it got way overwhelming.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you November 30th.
Yeah, you will, my friend. Much love, eh? You take care.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love me some Butch Witkowski, everyone. Love me some Butch Witkowski. That's what we do around here. And, you know, I have to say that this whole thing with this potential Sasquatch breaking in, throwing butter at the fridge, stealing the dog's collar, peeing in the laundry, I think a lot of you need this story in your life, too. We need to find out more of this. I know Derek on Twitter probably passed out because of the mega woo that follows this. I think he fainted, to be honest. But we need this woo. This is the type of woo we live for. Right here. Bigfoot breaking into houses. Peeing in the laundry. Stealing the dog's collar. And throwing butter at the fridge. I need this in my life. I need this to be true. I do. And I think a lot of you do, too. You sick bastards. I love you anyways. My goodness. That is a lot of woo, man. A lot of woo. I need this in my life. I do. Whatever it is, Fapster, whatever it is, we need this. This makes us better. This is the type of stuff that songs are made of. It's true. Yeah, Derek's hyperventilating. He just sent the GIF over that he's hyperventilating over that potential mega woo. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Phil's cat is passed out due to the mega woo. Cords Bigfoot checklist, breaking into houses. Number 1, pee in clean laundry basket. 2, steal dog's collar and attempt to throw homeowner off trail. 3, throw butter at the fridge out of frustration of bad food. Oh, yeah. Oh, I hear you, Corrance, the booking guy. All right, we got 10 seconds. You know who you are. Thank you so much for the super chats. I love you all. And thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button tonight. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott, and I appreciate each and every one of you tuning us in tonight. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, man. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the sad. You know what? I'm going to add this story. I wasn't going to add this story to tonight, but I am a diehard Edmonton Oilers fan, okay? And they're my hockey team. Yes, I know I live in British Columbia. The Canucks are number 2 in my life, all right? They are number 2. But there's a major story that just came out of Edmonton tonight, because beloved sports figure Joey Moss died at the age of 57. And the Edmonton Oilers, really going back into the 1980s, thank you to Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Glenn Anderson, Grant Fuhr, Paul Coffey, all of the greats. All right? They allowed this young man with Down syndrome to come into their dressing room and help with picking up tape in the dressing room, washing some towels. And at the time, Gretzky was actually dating Joey's sister. And, of course, that didn't work out. He ended up marrying Janet Gretzky. However, Moss was born in 1963 with Down syndrome, became the 12th of 13 children in the family. And, you know, before this point, a lot of people used to think that people with Down syndrome were good for nothing, that they were burdens to society. But people like Joey really changed that attitude, especially in professional sports. He earned himself a full-time job with the NHL team. He helped out with the Canadian Football League's Edmonton Eskimos. All right? And he was a friend to every player that walked through that dressing room, whether they were coming up from the minors, going back down to the minors, whether they were being traded to another team. And he was really the heart of sports in the city of Edmonton. And Edmonton lost a true hero, a true statesman for the entire city, the province of Alberta, the country of Canada. Hockey lost one of its greatest ambassadors in 57-year-old Joey Moss. And rest well, Joey. You had a great life. You broke a bunch of barriers that shouldn't have been there in the first place. God bless you. And once an Oiler, always an Oiler. So we will continue on here. So I had to get that one in as an Oilers fan. Had to. NASA scientists have found more water on the moon than previously thought. It's a crucial discovery that could help greatly fuel deep space exploration. The water, which was discovered for the first time in areas outside the moon's sunlit frigid poles is possibly trapped in glass beads about the size of a pencil tip in the soil, scientists said. The discovery that water might be distributed across the lunar surface and not limited to ice at the poles, as the space agency thought, raises possibility that it could be accessible as a human resource, said Paul Hertz from NASA's Astrophysics Department. He is the director. Enough water was detected in a cubic meter of sunlit soil to fill a 12-ounce bottle, said Casey Hannibal. She said that the water may have come from a combination of hydrogen molecules in solar rings mixed with oxygen in the moon's powdery soil. We think the water is trapped in these glass beads, which protects and preserves it. The stunning discovery was made by a Boeing 747 SP jet-turned space laboratory known as SOFIA, or the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy. The data-collecting spacecraft typically tracks stars, but its operators decided to examine the moon starting in 2018. It's incredible that this discovery came out of what was essentially a test, and now that we know we could do this, we're planning more flights to do more observation, SOFIA scientist Nassim Rangawala said. A scientist said at a NASA press conference in 2009 that there was a possibility enough water on the moon that could support bases there so man could eventually set up shop. The idea is that this extraterrestrial water could be used for everything from drinking to the extraction of oxygen from the water for astronauts to breathe, as well as even the manufacturing of rocket fuel. In 2018, the agency said there was definitely water, possibly ancient, in the form of ice around the moon's poles. That's actually a pretty damn good discovery right there. It really is. The United States has canceled plans to offer Santa Claus performers early access to a coronavirus vaccine in exchange for their help in promoting it publicly. Those who perform as Mrs. Claus and elves would have also been eligible for the jabs. The festive collaboration was part of a $250 million government campaign to garner celebrity endorsements of vaccinations once they are approved. Great, using Santa Claus for this. But health authorities smartened up and confirmed the advertising campaign has been scrapped. Rick Irwin, chairman of the Fraternal Order of Real Bearded Santas, called the news extremely disappointing. Oh, yeah, because he wanted Santa to do that. This was a great hope for Christmas 2020, and now it looks like it won't happen, he told the Wall Street Journal, which first reported the story. The Department of Health and Human Services has since confirmed the existence of the Santa plan to the New York Times now. The idea was initially conceived by Michael Caputo, a former assistant secretary at the department. He announced last month that he would be going on leave shortly after posting a video to Facebook where he accused a government scientist of engaging in sedition against President Donald Trump. According to reports, Mr. Caputo told Mr. Irwin in August that a vaccine would be approved by mid-November and distributed to frontline workers by Thanksgiving, which falls on the last day of Thursday in November. If you and your colleagues are not essential workers, I don't know what is, Mr. Caputo can be heard saying in a phone call, recording released by the Wall Street Journal. And Mr. Irwin responds, ho, ho, ho. Oh, this is getting just cloak and dagger with Santa Claus stuff here. He also said on the call, since you'd be doing Santa a serious favor, Santa would definitely reciprocate. Great. So now Santa's being bought by potential drugs. Santa's a drug addict, wants his needles, doesn't want to get the vid, and wants to exchange that for being a spokesperson for vaccinations. So let the man be. Let the man be. Speaking of conspiracy theories, rumors abound about Melania Trump using a body double have been reignited by an odd new photo that sent Twitter into a frenzy. The conspiracy theory, wrapping this one up in tinfoil, that Melania has a lookalike stand-in for her at public events has been circulated on social media for years, resurfacing whenever proponents spot a slight change in her appearance. The latest round of speculation was fueled by a photo of Melania and Donald Trump boarding Marine One on Thursday on their way to the final presidential debate. Melania is seen wearing large sunglasses and a broad smile that some Twitter users believe did not match her usual subtle grin. The theory doesn't hold up when compared to other photos of Melania were taken minutes earlier, which clearly show it's her and not an imposter. But Twitter users seized on the theory anyways, as hashtag fake Melania has become trending. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So, what else is going on with this? Well, the only thing that I'll miss from this administration is them swapping in new Melanias and just pretending we won't notice like a 4-year-old with a puppy, one man tweeted. I never believed the hashtag fake Melania conspiracies, but you can tell this 100% isn't her because she's looking fondly at a Christmas tree in the distance. I was planning on getting a good night's sleep, but now I'm freaked out by fake Melania. OMG, a woman added. Another woman posted the photo alongside a different one of Melania, writing, has anyone checked out on the real Melania lately? Comedian Patton Oswalt looks like a troll if you put a beard on him. He stated, that's so not Melania. Melania? They didn't even try. Well, several of the conspiracy theorists noted that Melania's teeth looked rounder than they normally do because we're all hygiene experts. Meanwhile, there were a few who joined the conversation to refute the theory, calling it ridiculous. It's Melania. Why do you bother with weird conspiracies when we're already inundated with real corruption and scandals? One woman asked. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm seeing a side-by-side of these two. Honestly, there may be an argument here. The teeth do look different. Can we get somebody from Oral-B to confirm this? I don't know. I really don't know. Moving on. This is kind of cool. We got some cool stuff happening in the sky over the next few weeks, or over this week, pardon me. We got a blue moon, the second full moon of the month, which rises at dusk on Saturday's Halloween. It will be the first full moon to do that since 1944. However, before that, we get treated to a Halloween hunter's blue moon. Our satellite will glide close to the bright red planet of Mars. It's still so bright because it recently was at opposition, the closest that Earth ever gets to it. The weekend will also see the opposition of Uranus. Yes. What's the opposite of Uranus? Well, just be careful. It's Halloween. A little bit of alcohol, some fireworks, you do some wrong things. The seventh planet from the sun will just be about to be seen by the naked eye for those lucky enough to be under spooky dark skies. There is also a new comet in town. Yes, below is a star chart. All right, let's get to this comet. What is this? A bright waxing moon will appear on to be just 3 degrees from the planet Mars to the eastern sky. Okay, everybody knows where Mars and the moon is. All right, so then we have the Southern Torrid's meteor shower, Thursday and Friday. That's going to be actually kind of cool. Meteor shower, full moon. Let's get to this. You know, I want to know where this comet's going to be. Well, where is it in the star? There it is. Comet P1 Neowise. It's not going to be a naked eye object, but if you have a pair of binoculars, you'll be able to see Neowise once again during late October and early November. Of course, I don't believe Neowise really exists. Didn't see it. Tried. Went exactly where they told me to. Big Dipper's handle. Watch it go up. No, didn't exist. No, don't believe it. I think that one's a fake. Fake news there. An aggressive turkey that terrorized a California neighborhood for months has been captured by a wildlife expert who went all Ace Ventura on it. Yes, she disguised herself as an elderly woman to trick the fowl. Gerald the turkey, a frequently sighted bird in Oakland, who caused the city's Morecambe Rose Garden to be closed to visitors during the summer, was finally captured by Rebecca Dimitrick, Director of Wildlife Emergency Services. Dimitrick said she disguised herself as an old woman for the operation after the Oakland Animal Services personnel reported that Gerald preferred to pick on and attack frail old ladies. I baited him with blueberries, kibble, and sunflower seeds, Dimitrick said. Then my husband actually had to run down to the truck, so I was left alone with the turkey. Dimitrich said she baited Gerald into charging at her, giving her an opening to grab him by the scruff of the neck in a way that did not harm the bird. In other words, she actually went 100% Iron Sheik on this bird. She grabbed him, suplexed him, put him in the camel clutch, broke his back, and made him humble. That's exactly what she did. Good for her. Gerald, by the way, was located to a wild area in the East Bay Hills. He's going to be okay from his humbling. After being at this for 5 months, to be on the other side and to know the turkey is now in a wild area situated with other turkeys where he will be safe, it feels like the best outcome possible, said Ann Dunn, director of Oakland Animal Services. Thank you to the female Iron Sheik that we call Dimitrich. She's a hero and a legend. An Italian town is looking to draw in new visitors by auctioning off abandoned houses with opening bids of just over $1. The town of Salemi in Sicily announced it will auction off dozens of abandoned homes that have fallen into disrepair for $1.18. Mayor Domenico Venuti said the scheme is part of the effort to revitalize the town, which has seen its population continue to dwindle after about 4,000 residents left the area after a 1968 earthquake. All buildings belong to the city council, which speeds up the sale and reduces the red tape. Before launching the scheme, we first had to recover the old parts of Salemi where the houses are located, upgrading the infrastructures and services from roads to electric grids and sewage pipes. Now the town is ready for the next step. Venuti says the plan has been in the works for several years, but was stalled due to issues including infrastructure and zoning complications. It was a long process. Not only did we carry out through the maintenance works to secure the risky, crumbly areas, we also had to recover many properties to residential use. We've been ready for a while, but wanted to wait and see how the COVID-19 emergency evolved. Italy was an early hotspot for the pandemic, but Sicily had remained one of the last impacted regions in the country. The mayor said the interested buyers will not be required to visit the town before purchasing a property, but they will be asked to submit a detailed renovation plan to prove they are committed to revitalization efforts. That is really kind of cool. Good for that city to do that. You know, I think in all over Canada and in the United States, there's these little counties and towns that really deserve something like this. What a great idea to revitalize dead areas, honestly. A steam shovel that has been submerged in Michigan Lake for nearly a century has been returned to dry land and is being restored. Mike Oberleuer said he dreamed of removing the steam shovel from the bottom of Wixom Lake since his father first told him about the artifact about 50 years ago. You know, I was 11 years old when we were in a boat looking for this, so it's been 45 years for me, he said. Oberleuer and a team of volunteers removed the last pieces of the steam shovel from the lake Saturday. It had been used to construct the Edenville Dam in the 1920s and was submerged in the lake for 95 years. You know, if I think of an Australian brawl, and we'll end it on this one tonight, I think kangaroo versus koala. And that's exactly what we got, people. Exactly what we got. Impossible, but it's true. Video footage of a kangaroo and koala have been filmed in a very tense standoff in Queensland. The video shows a kangaroo chasing a koala as it crawls on the ground and then appearing to pounce. Oh my God, they're having a fight, the report said. The kangaroo's trying to hurt the koala. A woman can be overheard saying in the footage, the koala cowers before making a run for it, with the roo giving chase. I mean, this one is one of those one-size-fits-all kind of thing. You know, the kangaroo's a little bit of a bully here. All right, maybe the Dimitrich should bring the camel clutch over to the camel after fixing the turkey up. I don't know. But it's a brawl for Australia, and it's a proud one at that. That's all I have to say. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What do you think cryptids do in the winter for food and shelter? Alex, What cryptids? Since they are different species, it depends on that. Shanna, they like to come in out of the cold. That's why you should always check under the bed. Oh, good one, Shanna. Filth, they go south to Phoenix and stay at Richie G's house sipping strawberry daiquiris. Marty, our favorite veteran, and we love our veterans around here. Thank you for your service, Marty. I know I tell you that every night, Marty, but I will continue to tell you that. Thank you, my friend. I think most cryptids probably hibernate through the cold winter months, but a few like the Yeti and Sasquatch are used to harsh environments and continue on as usual. Great clown tonight. Judith, because I think she likes a soft J. Judith, like any other animal in winter, forage for what they can, where they can, open basement doors, make easier access for shelter, probably share cave space with other animals. Cherry, probably know where the hot spots in the earth are. Joseph, I think one of two things. Either they do as the rest of the year, or they do as they do the rest of the year, or they hibernate. Cynthia, they swim, fly, or teleport to Hawaii. Foya Boy, in my opinion, cryptids are not real as in physical or material. I assume they get sustenance through energy, possibly from another dimension. Woo! That's a good one. James, they remain cryptic. All right. Jay, my guess is Bigfoot lives in your basement, Dave Scott, and you give each beard tips. You give each other beard tips. Oh, thank you. Florida and Old Country Buffet for Reverend Keith. Tom, they're cold-blooded, they don't care, and for food they subside on bark, weeds, or other animals. Gail, I believe it depends on the cryptid and its diet. Carnivores most likely will follow their food source during the winter times. Same for omnivores. Herbivores will have more of a challenge unless they store food in a cache while it is plentiful. Stephen believes they attend an Airbnb. Matt believes that they eat snow. Kira gets the final word tonight, the lovely and talented Kira. Maybe they just go off planet to a warmer place. Thank you to everybody on the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again on Facebook and Twitter tomorrow. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news. And to Butch Witkowski for coming on the show for Strange Days. We'll talk to him next month. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Rev Radio, Facebook, our website, and all the snarkers at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your tickets are always available. Your seats are never given away. And if you want to bring a friend, bring them too. We got room. Good night. I literally forgot what I was going to say there. That's kind of funny.